Hi everyone! Thanks for joining me today. Let's go ahead and get started in a comfortable seated position. So whether that be in a chair or on the ground. For me, I like to sit on the folded blanket, just kind of tucked under those sits bones like I shared in the gentle yoga with chair video. Feel free to reference that if you feel like that would be supportive to your practice. Have some good chair variations there. So for now, we'll begin to just check in with ourselves, notice how we have arrived today on our mats or at our practice. Just beginning to tune into that physical body, noticing if there's any other adjustments that we need to make to get comfortable. And checking in with that mental space, what's weighing on the mind, checking in with those emotions, remembering that however our practice comes through for us is correct. There's no right or wrong here. And then when you're ready, we'll begin diving inwards, so offering ourselves some space from those thoughts, those emotions, that physical body. So we can do this in many ways. I talked about in my video called Mindful Moment, lots of different ways that we can begin to connect with ourselves. One way is to feel the parts of the body that are making contact with the floor and really grounding in there. Another way is to bring our attention to our breath if that feels comfortable for you. So just beginning to notice that breath if this is working. Feel free to follow your own practice if not. So we might be feeling the way the breath is moving the body, or the way maybe we can feel the air touching the nostril or the back of the throat. Maybe we feel kind of the chest or the belly rising and falling with that in and exhale. And then we'll just begin slowing that breath down if you haven't already, inviting a nice big full inhale, imagining that balloon expanding in all directions out into the side body, front, back, top to bottom, and inviting that breath to get low in the belly. And just feeling that expansion with the inhale. Maybe you're feeling whatever sensations come through for you, and then noticing that exhale, noticing whatever there is to notice. Maybe we notice a condensing or a coming back towards center. And then we'll begin warming up the neck when you're ready. So nice big inhale, tall back, long spine, reaching out through the crown of the head, allowing the legs and the lower half of the body to get heavy. On the exhale, allowing that head to fall forward, stretching out the back of the neck and the upper back. On our next inhale, rising up through center. Exhaling, releasing the left ear to the left shoulder. Keeping our body nice and tall, or back tall. Notice if you kind of lean over, see if we can keep that weight even in the seat. On the next inhale, coming up through center, exhaling, releasing to the second side. Allowing those shoulders to fall down away from the ears. If it feels good from here to release the chin towards the chest and semicircle between the shoulders, you're welcome to do that. Or warming up, stretching your neck in whatever way feels good for you. Moving nice and slow. Using that breath, creating space on the inhale, inviting release on the exhale. And when you're ready, when you feel complete, coming back to center. From here, we're going to move into cat and cow. So always the option to do this seated. You'll find that in the yoga, gentle yoga with chair video, or we can come onto hands and knees. If we're on hands and knees, we'll check in that the wrists are right under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We can always bring a folded blanket or towel or whatever you have for some padding under those knees. Finding the support for yourself, taking good care. So we'll start in table, nice flat back. So we bring that navel towards the spine. So we have a nice straight, strong back rather than letting the belly kind of hang down. We'll have that strong back. Starting with an inhale, finding length out through the crown of the head, down through the tail, finding that mountain torso. On the exhale, curling the tailbone under, tilting the pelvis back, rounding through the back, finding that round all the way out through the crown of the head. Looking back towards the knees or the navel, wherever your range of motion takes you. On the inhale, lifting the tailbone, the pelvis tilts forward or towards the ground if we're on hands and knees. Arching that back, arching all the way out through the crown of the head. Looking up as much as is comfortable for you today. And finding your flow, following your breath, exhaling, rounding, maybe starting with that tailbone, flowing all the way out through the crown of the head, rounding into cat. And when the inhale comes, lifting that tailbone, tilting the pelvis forward, arching all the way out through the crown of the head into cow. Feel free to wiggle and move in whatever way feels good for you, following your own breath. Cat and cow are wonderful for opening up that pelvic body, warming up the back, helping us learn to go with the flow. And then when you feel complete, we'll come back to table, nice flat back. From here, we're going to come into downward facing dog, if that feels okay. Always, again, the option to use a chair. Come stand if you don't want to come through downward facing dog, however it supports you today. If we're coming through downward facing dog, we're going to tuck the toes. Keep that navel hugging spine nice, strong back. And then inviting the sits bones to lift and lead us into this shape. So pressing the chest back towards the thighs, finding a nice long reach out through the crown of the head, down through the tail. Knees are bent as much as you like. Feel free to wiggle around, move, find your down dog. Bringing the weight out of the wrists, into the palms, into the webbing, the padding in the hands, the fingertips. Kind of pressing those fingertips into the floor, clawing like a bear claw kind of. And then we'll begin to warm up the backs of the legs, so lowering one heel down to the ground and then the other, kind of like you're walking the heels, warming up the backs of the legs. Heels don't have to touch the ground, just want to find this triangle shape in the body, with the sits bones being the peak of that triangle. Once you find your down dog, taking several deep, slow breaths, nice and full. And then when you're ready to come out, we'll take a nice big inhale, bend into the legs, look forward and walk the feet forward, or some people like to jump the feet forward, coming into a forward fold, just hanging here for a moment, allowing the whole upper body to hang over the hips. Some people like to rest the hands on a block or a chair for support, if that feels better, especially in that low back. Check it out, see how you feel. And again, finding those big, deep, slow breaths. Gently shaking the head no and nodding yes. And when you're ready, finding the breath that supports you or following along with me. Nice big inhale. On the exhale, slowly lowering, rising up, pressing evenly into those feet.
Finding mountain as we roll up. So we're looking for even weight in the bottoms of the feet, soft knees, knees over ankles, checking in with that imaginary bowl of water in the pelvis like I talked about in previous videos. So that tailbone is rooting down towards the earth. We imagine a 100-pound tail pulling us down, navel hugging spine. On an inhale, lifting the heart straight up towards the sky. Exhaling, releasing the shoulders down away from the ears. Next inhale, we're going to reach out through the crown of the head, so there's this lengthening in the back of the head, really tall spine, at the same time rooting down with that big heavy tail. Finding your mountain, Tadasana. Some people like to turn the palms facing forward to make a little more room for those lungs with that internal rotation of the shoulders. On your next inhale, we're going to sweep the arms wide. Palms come up and together, whatever your range of motion is. Exhaling, palms to heart. On your inhale, we're going to lift the palms, looking up if that feels comfortable for a little back bend. Reaching up towards the sky. Exhaling, diving forward, forward fold. Uttanasana. Nice big full breath here. When you're ready, we're going to slowly roll up. Find the breath that supports you. We'll do 2 more like that, warming up our bodies. When you find your mountain, inhaling, sweeping the arms wide. Exhaling, palms to heart. Making that connection with the base of the thumbs to the heart, Anjali Mudra. On your next inhale, lifting the palms. Exhaling, diving forward. Uttanasana, forward fold. Nice big inhale. Exhaling, slowly rolling up. Last one. When your inhale comes, sweeping the arms wide. Exhaling, palms to heart. Inhaling, lifting the palms. Exhaling, diving forward. Last one. This time we're going to add a little back bend. So inhaling, lifting the head halfway. Crown of the head leads the way. Little back bend, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhaling, forward folds. And slowly rolling up when you're ready. Rolling the shoulders up and back, coming back into mountain. Just checking in here for a moment. On your next inhale, sweeping the arms wide. Exhaling, palms to heart. From here, we're going to come into chair, Utkatasana. So sitting those hips back. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. So we sit back as if we have an imaginary table or chair behind us. So those knees stay right over the hips. Nice mountain torso as we sit back here. We can just sit back a little bit, or we can deepen that sit. Some of you will come even lower than I am, finding what works for you today. And that navel stays hugging the spine, long spine, reaching out through the crown of the head. And then we're going to step that left foot back into a lunge. I'm actually going to step my right foot forward to make sure I'm on my mat. Excuse me, I'm on my mat. All right, so finding lunge here, crescent lunge. So feet can be closer together if that's more comfortable for you. Arms, hands, wherever you like them. Looking for that knee right over the ankle or behind. We don't want the knee to go over the toes. Keeping that knee joint safe. Looking for even weight in both feet. So notice if you're kind of leaning your weight forward here, we want the body right in the center and pressing evenly into both feet. Pressing that heel down towards the floor behind you. And bringing your arms wherever you would like them. They can stay at the heart or on the hips or reaching up towards the sky. If we bring them up towards the sky, we might notice a more challenge in our balance and our gaze. Also, if we bring If we keep our eyes looking down, that's more stable. If we want to look up and challenge our balance a little more, we can do that, finding deep, slow breaths. Imagining that balloon breath with that inhale, expanding in all directions, kind of like a starfish. Nice big inhale, really expanding out, radiating out from that navel. On the exhale, palms together down to the heart. And then coming to bring our hands to our hips, we're going to do a side bend here. So inhaling, sweeping that left arm straight out to the side and bending over to the side. You can also have a chair here, sorry I didn't offer sooner, for support if that feels more stable and supportive for you. Relaxing those shoulders down away from the ears. Inhaling, bringing left arm back up and down into the hip. And then we'll step or walk that back foot forward to meet the front, coming back into mountain. Check in here, practicing the mindfulness of being present in the moment, just noticing whatever there is to notice, noticing that judgment, the self-talk, if it's harmful, inviting that self-talk to not be included here, and coming back to the breath or back to the physical body, whatever feels more comfortable for you. We're gonna go for that second side. So stepping that right foot back this time to wherever your range of motion is, and checking for that even weight in the feet. So I usually find it with my inhale, and like I said, kind of like a starfish, or with that balloon breath, expanding in all directions, bringing your arms, hands to wherever you would like them, and your gaze. Relaxing those shoulders down away from the ears. Finding deep, full breaths. Maybe noticing that expansion with the inhale. Nourishing your body and mind with oxygen. On the exhale, maybe noticing a sense of release or relief, or letting go of what no longer supports us. Nice big inhale, pressing evenly into those feet, reaching out through those fingertips. On the exhale, bringing the palms together and down to the heart, and all the way down to the hips. Inhaling, sweeping that right arm out to the side, rotating palm facing up for that internal rotation, and bringing the hand all the way up and bending over to the side. A little or a lot, whatever feels better for you, taking that side bend. On your next inhale, sweeping that right arm back up, bringing it back to the hip, and stepping forward into mountain. Checking in, finding your mountain, stable, grounded, tall, majestic. Grounding into the fact that you have a right to be here. We all have a right to be here. And then from here, we're going to inhale, sweep the arms wide, exhaling, palms to heart, bringing all that beautiful energy in around you and bringing it in for yourself. On our next inhale, lifting the palms, looking up if that feels good. Exhaling, diving forward, forward fold, Uttanasana. Adding that little back bend, inhaling, lifting halfway, exhaling, forward fold. Preparing for downward facing dog if you would like. If not, we'll all meet on the mat on our bellies. If we're doing down dog, planting those hands, stepping the feet back. Finding your down dog, maybe we're using a chair here. Taking a couple big full breaths. Maybe noticing that lift with the inhale, that buoyancy, that lightness that maybe we feel when we inhale, bringing that weight out of the wrist, finding that reach up through those sits bones, up towards the sky. On our next inhale, we're going to come up onto the balls of the feet, rounding through those shoulders, coming forward into plank. Lots of variations for plank. We can lower the knees, looking for a nice flat back. Yeah. Or we can have those knees lifted. We can be on fists. We can be on forearms. If the wrists don't like with the hand being flat on the ground. One more breath here, finding that strong torso, finding your inner strength, your inner power. Nice big inhale. On the exhale, we're going to lower the knees, chest and chin coming all the way down to the mat, onto our bellies, untucking those toes, and keeping the arms tight to the body. We're going to inhale into Cobra. So inviting that breath to lead the way. Growing up from there, that navel's hugging the spine, keeping that low back protected. One more breath here. On the exhale, lowering, we'll rotate the head and rest on the cheek for a moment and crocodile. Or you can rest with your hands stacked under your forehead if that's more comfortable. Nice slow breath here. And then from here, we're going to find locust or some variation of. So we're going to bring the arms at our sides, palms facing down, and the chin is resting on the floor. If we like, we can do just the arms or just the legs, or both, whatever works best for you. So again, finding an inhale to lead the way. Either lifting the legs or the arms or both. We'll do it 2 times so you have the option. So finding that inhale. If we're just doing the legs, lifting the legs, maybe we lift the arms as well. If you really want to heat it up, you can bring the arms out front. Finding the breath, keeping that neck long, the back of the neck. So notice if you're looking forward, see if you can keep that gaze down and reaching out through the crown of the head. Staying with the breath, taking a break whenever we need. Nice big inhale, feeling that expansion. On the exhale, releasing. If the head was rotated to start, we'll rotate in the opposite direction. And preparing for our second locust. So if you had just done the legs and the arms, switching or doing the full body again. Finding an inhale to lead the way. And growing out from there. Might feel a gentle rocking as you breathe. Keeping that breath nice and long. About one more breath here. And when you're ready, slowly lowering. We're going to slide the hands under the shoulders. Again, allowing the breath to lead the way. We're going to press up and back into child's pose. So the sits bones are coming back towards the feet. They don't have to touch the feet. Some people like to put a folded blanket or pillow or towel or whatever in between to sit on. Sometimes that's more comfortable, so check in there. Sometimes people like to put pillows to rest on or bolster, which is a yoga pillow. So we can, a lot of variations for child's pose. So knees can be wide with the arms stretched out long in front of us. And the head coming towards the floor. The head doesn't have to touch the floor. If it's not and you want something to rest the head on, you can use a block or like some stacked books can also work if you don't have a yoga block. If it hurts to sit on the knees like this, you can also take a seated child's pose and just allow the body to round forward. We can also have a chair that we're kind of resting our head on. So finding whichever variation works best for you and taking several deep, slow breaths there. inviting the front of the body to soften, the skin to soften, and the bones to get heavy, and the organs to fall forward so that the back can release and let go. Pressing if you're in this variation of more of an active child's pose with the arms reaching long out in front of us, we're pressing those palms into the mat as if we're pressing it away from us and sitting back, finding length in those side bodies. About one more breath there. When you're ready, coming up in whatever way supports you best. If we're rolling up, we sit back into the seat and slowly roll up. The head is the last thing to come up. We can also fold up from there where we have a nice strong torso and folding up. So from here, we'll come on to our backs. And just settling in for a moment, allowing the body to settle in this new position. And if it feels good, you can bring the knees in toward the belly for a hug, maybe rocking side to side. You don't have to hold them, or you can hold behind the thighs, whatever feels best, or hold a wrist. Eventually coming to stillness, allowing the heart to relax. And then releasing the feet towards the floor. We're going to come into our final rest, Shavasana. In English, that is translated as corpse. So we're just going to take some time to allow the body and mind to just be. So coming somewhere that's comfortable for you. Maybe it's right here on the back with the knees bent. The knees can fall in towards each other. They can fall out, more of a butterfly or a bound angle with those legs. They can be out long. You can put a pillow under the legs. You can lay on your belly or your side, wherever it's comfortable for you to just rest. The only requirement for Shavasana is a neutral spine, so no back bend here. So we're inviting the whole body to rest and to allow all of the love and the oxygen, the nourishment that we just gave to our mind-body system to fully integrate into our cells. And we can have the eyes open or closed, whatever is most comfortable, inviting the eyes, the little muscles around the eyes to soften, and the whole body to get heavy, relaxing the jaw, shoulders relax, get heavy, the arms and the hands get heavy, allowing the heart to relax and the belly to be loose. The legs and the feet get heavy. For now, there's nowhere to be, nothing to do, just resting.
Gently beginning to wake the body, so we might stretch the arms up overhead, stretching out long or wiggling in whatever way feels good. At some point when you're ready, or maybe you want to stay resting longer, you're welcome to do that. At some point, if you like, coming all the way up to sit. Tuning back in, noticing whatever there is to notice. And bringing our hands together in front of the heart. I'll end us with a loving kindness practice. May all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may our practice of yoga contribute to that happiness and that freedom. Namaste.